Hi there! Today's video is about making a book cover in Adobe InDesign, so let's get started. I'm going to use inches as the unit for this one because it makes it easier for me to do the size calculation. So let's keep the width to 28 inches and let the height be as it is, which is 11.69 inches. Also, I'd like to reduce the margins to 0.25 inch and bleed to 0.125 inch, as I'll be using an image covering the entire page, so bleed will definitely be needed, and then hit create. Now I'm going to pull the guide from the ruler on the left. So the way it works is I'll have to make a frame using my guides, and it's just to assign spaces to the different elements on the book cover. So I'm going to drop the first guide at 4.2 inches. So this first panel that you see on the left is going to be the fold that rests under the thick cover of the book. Next, I'll have to reset the ruler as per this guide because I'll need to measure 8.8 inches for the back cover. So let me drag the ruler from the corner here and drop it at the guide, and now this is set to 0, so I can measure 8.8 inches from this guide. So let me drag another guide and drop it at 8.8 inches from the previous guide, and this is for the back cover of the book. Next in line is the spine of the book, and for that I'll have to again reset the ruler to 0 at this guide. So let's drag the ruler to reset it to 0. Perfect. Now the spine should be 1.8 inches, so I'm going to drag a new guide and drop it at 1.8 from the last guide. Next comes the front page of the book, and follow the same steps for resetting the ruler to 0. And since the back page was 8.8 inches, the front page has to be the same size. So let's drag a guide and count 8.8 inches from the last guide. Great. Now, whatever is left is the fold that will rest under the thick cover of the front of the book. Alright, now we know what's what, so let's get the rest of the elements to fill in the pages. So I'm going to start from the left here and drag the ellipse frame tool and make a circle. This is where I'll put the image of the writer like you usually find in books. Next, I'm going to grab the text tool and make a text box. Ensure that you leave some space on both sides, as one side will eventually be folded and the other will face the guillotine, so we need to be extra careful with spacing here. Let's type in any name. Let's write by James Brown. So James Brown is the writer. Maybe we'll change it later if we could come up with something better. And then press return twice to move the cursor to another line as if it's a new paragraph. And now right click and fill with placeholder text. Now since it's too busy, we'll delete some text and make a few paragraphs for it to look better. This panel usually has info about the writer or why he came up with this book, etc. Let's also change the type to bold for the writer's name, just to differentiate it from the rest of the text. And then let's do a little bit of layout adjustment for the text as well as the image that we haven't put yet. Alright, now let's move to the back page. I'm going to drag a text box and write praise for the book title because I couldn't think of anything at this point. And I'll write it in capital letters, assuming that this book has been the best seller of the year and a lot of literati have words of praise for the book, and adding this on the back cover will only enhance the market of the book further. And then I'm going to make another text box just below this to write all those flowery words from the different scholars for this book. So let's right click and fill with placeholder text. Now all we need to do is divide this text into a few paragraphs, and for every paragraph we'll put a name as if that scholar has written the praise for this book. Also, let's highlight the names of the scholars by changing the font to Poppins. You can change it to any other font of your choice, and making them bold as well. Now we need the ISBN barcode, so I already have one downloaded, so let me place it here at the bottom. In fact, before we do that, let's add a rectangle frame tool to hold the barcode on the bottom right of this page. Now go to File and then Place and locate the barcode to place it here. Once the image is imported, let's right click on it and go to Fitting and then select the Fit Content to Frame option for a perfect fit. Okay, this is done. So let's move to the spine of the book. Grab the text tool once again and make a text box and type in outdoor photography. Now that's the title of the book, and let's write the writer's name to be Jill White. That kind of sounds nice. In fact, we've already used another name on the left fold of the book, but not to worry, I like this name more, so we'll stick to this one. We'll change the other one. Okay, now we can increase the size of the font as it will cover the spine. In fact, let's put the name of the writer on the same line as the title, and I'll reduce the size of the writer's name and make it italics as well. And now center align it. Now I'm going to hover my cursor to the corner of this text box and then click and drag, holding the Shift key to rotate my text so as to align it to the spine. I think the font size is too big to fit in, so let's select and reduce it to the size that can fit in easily and then center align it. Alright, spine's done. Let's move on to the front page of the cover, and for this I'm going to grab the rectangle frame tool and make a large rectangle covering the entire front page, as I'll be inserting an image here, and this was the main reason why I use the bleed margins. So let's go to File and then Place and locate the image that we're going to use here. Now instead of typing in the title all over again, let's just copy the text box of the spine, and then from the rotate tool change the degree to 0, so it's going to be horizontal again. And I think we'll need another copy of this text box for the writer's name as well, so let's click on the text box and then press and hold the Option key on a Mac or Alt key on a PC and drag it to copy. Now from the first copy, let's delete the writer's name, so we should be left with just the title, and since it's in black, I think it's not going to be clearly visible on top of this image, so let's change the color of the font to white from the toolbar above, and then increase the font size a bit, and I think I'll have the title in 2 lines instead of 1. That will look much better. Next, I'm going to right click on the text box and go to Effects and then Outer Glow. From here, I'll change the glow color to black and mode to multiply. And I'll change the size to 0.1875 inch before hitting OK. Perfect. This looks much better now. Now let's select the second text box and delete the title from this one, as we already have that sorted, and place it to the right. We'll have to change the font color of this one as well to white, so select it and change it to white from the toolbar above. And let's also add a drop shadow to the name, so right click on the text box and go to Effects, and this time go to Drop Shadow. From the pop-up menu, I'll change the Y offset to 0, and X offset is good enough at 0.0972 inch. Let's update the size to 0.0625 inch and then hit OK. Now let's do the last panel. Drag the text box and type the text statement relevant to your storyline. Maybe we can add a blurb here. For the ones who don't know, a blurb is a short description of a book, film, or other product written for promotional purposes. So let's add another text box below the headline for the content of the blurb. And then right click and fill it with placeholder text. And then divide the text into believable, nice looking paragraphs. Now our book cover is almost ready. All we need now is a background. So grab a rectangle tool and make a rectangle covering the entire artboard, including the bleed. And let's change it to something blue. And double click on the color switch here and adjust your color before hitting OK. And then click on the rectangle to select it if not selected already. Now right click once and go to Arrange and select Send to Back option from here. I think we'll have to change the font color to white now because it is not really visible. So, and it is not really such a big problem at all, but I'm somehow not happy with the blue background color. So let me try gray. I think gray should look much better. So I'm going to change it to black and then turn down the opacity to make it look gray. Something close to dark gray. Also, let's select all by hitting Command A on a Mac or Control A on a PC in each text box and change the font color to white from the toolbar above. It is looking much nicer now. Let's also add an image for the writer here. So let's go to File and then Place and import the image here. And let's do one last thing here. Let's grab the rectangle tool and make a rectangle covering just the spine of the book cover. And then from the toolbar above, change the color to black. And then send it to back by hitting Shift Command and left bracket on a Mac or Shift Control left bracket on a PC. And since we have another rectangle, which is the gray background, our black panel has hidden itself behind it. So let's click on the gray rectangle. You can click anywhere on the screen as long as you click on the gray rectangle to select it. And then use the same command, which is Shift Command and left bracket or Shift Control and left bracket, depending upon whether you're using Mac or Windows. And your black panel will reveal itself. Make a similar rectangle for the back cover as well, and I'd like to have a shade slightly darker than the two panels on the sides, and using the same method send it to the back of the text. So let's see how our book cover looks on a PDF. So go to File and then Export, and from the pop-up menu change the format to Adobe PDF Print and rename your document should you want to, and hit Save and then Export. Now go to the location where you exported the file to and double click on the PDF, and voila, that's the book cover ready to be printed. Alright guys, that's all I have for you now. I hope you've enjoyed the video and have learned something from it. So please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Until we meet again on Wednesday, goodbye and thanks for watching.